Welcome everybody to The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it. This is episode 73, August the 5th, 2022. And I'm your host, Steampunk Star Raisin. And I'm here in North Hollywood, California, USA. I'm here with my co-host, Daniel Bertison, and he is in Bellwood, Ontario, Canada. What's going on, Daniel?
Same old, same old. You know, uh, I'm happy. I'm happy I'm here with you now,
Well, good.
right back with the news.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about, I should have talked about it a couple days ago, was the death of Nichelle Nichols. Let's see, look up an article. But she passed away on July the 30th, 2022. She lived in New Mexico. Wow, okay, I didn't know she lived in New Mexico. But let me but yeah, Nichelle Nichols, dead at age 89. I met her a couple times at various comic book conventions. She was very nice. Sorry, it gave me a pop-up. Okay. Yeah, Nichelle Nichols, groundbreaking star of Star Trek, dies at age 89. This is cbsnews.com. It says here, Nichelle Nichols, who portrayed her on Star Trek in a groundbreaking role for Black actresses before going on to help recruit people of color and women for NASA in real life, has died. Her representatives confirmed to CBS News she was 89. There's a picture of her from October 2015. But yeah, I met her at Kamikaze Expo 2015. It's after Stan Lee died, they changed the name, or actually shortly before Stan Lee died, they changed the name to LA Comic Con. But basically LA Comic Con 2015. She was really nice, but she had problems remembering things. And it wasn't a very productive interview, but I feel privileged that she allowed me to interview her, and that was very kind of her. Yeah, it's I never like it when good people die. And for the most part, I don't like it when people die in general, unless they're like truly evil. But yeah, she will be missed. I mean, there's not many people left on the bridge crew of Star Trek. I mean, you have William Shatner, and you have Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov, and you have George Takei, who played Sulu, and that's pretty much it as far as the original bridge crew. DeForest Kelly passed away in the 90s. That he played Bones, or Leonard McCoy, and Leonard Nimoy passed away in 2015 and played Spock, and the actor played Scotty, and he passed away sometime in the mid 2000s. And so yeah, there's not too many members of the original Star Trek left. It's kind of sad. I was hoping that maybe she'd live to be 100 at least, or hell, even better yet, why not try to break the Guinness Book of World Records and live to be 123? Because right now, the Guinness Book of World Records for old age is 122. And that was a woman from France who died in, I think, 1997. And she was the last living witness to Van Gogh, last living person who personally knew Van Gogh. Died in the late 90s. That's amazing.
Yeah, you
But
told me that she referred to Van Gogh as a smelly guy.
She didn't like Van Gogh, but Van Gogh had his issues, but he was a brilliant artist. He made beautiful art. But yeah, farewell, Nichelle Nichols. We shall miss your input. She also did a lot of fan films like Star Trek Renegades. She also did Star Trek of Gods and Men. Star Trek of Gods and Men was okay. It was undercut by really poor CGI. Like it really took me out of the movie with really poor CGI, and it seemed a really contrived plot line. It was the acting performances were on par with a Star Trek movie, but the actual special effects weren't. I mean, it was obvious that it was like lowbrow computer special effects of Gods and Men. I think that came out in 2007. But yeah, I mean, she really cared about the fandom. She was a very empathetic person. But yeah, definitely will miss Nichelle Nichols. I'm fortunate enough that I even got to interview her once. Um, Usually like LA Comic-Con, I would see her, like they would wheelchair her, and I never took a picture of her in a wheelchair because I didn't really want to disrespect her, because she always portrayed herself as if she was able-bodied, but towards the end she had become really feeble, and they would wheelchair her to the autograph booth. I saw this at like LA Comic-Con, and she was also at she had been a celebrity guest at Gallifrey One, which is the largest Doctor Who convention, which is also held in the LA area, but it's held in Long Beach. Let me stop sharing. But yeah, so what's your opinion about Nichelle Nichols? Were you a fan of hers, or
Yeah, she was okay. I liked her better than the rest of the Ahuras that they were playing, like Zoe Saldana or this new girl. What's her name? Something out
well,
of
the new girl doesn't even look like a her, and her hairstyle is totally different. She doesn't carry herself like a her. She doesn't look or sound like a her. Um, so the her and the Strange New Worlds bothered me for two reasons. One, she didn't look like a her, she didn't sound like a her, and um they're retconning Captain Pike, because in the original Captain Pike timeline there had been novels, and there was Captain Pike comic book series, which was licensed by CBS and Paramount. Um, that Uhura was never originally a member of Captain Pike's crew, so I hate that they're retconning that. It Another one of those retcons that I don't like is Strange New Worlds. But Strange New Worlds, out of 10 episodes, they had two good ones, but it was okay, but it wasn't great. And I don't like all the continuity errors, like continuity errors that could have been avoided. It's not like, oops, I accidentally made a continuity error because I forgot some obscure fact. It's like, no, we just don't care. But yeah. So anything else on your mind?
uh yeah. Did we talk about the Ezra Miller thing? Oh yeah. Did we talk about
We've talked
Ezra?
about that ad nauseum, man. We've talked about it twice in a row. I know
Yeah,
you sent me a link.
I'm really
I
I'm
could
just
do an Ezra Miller update.
yeah.
Yeah, see, let me click on this link. Oh, this is just a screen capture. It's from comicbookmovie.com. Hold on. Share screen. Share. Okay. Yeah, according to comicbookmovie.com, he's now accused of running a cult and grooming minors. It just sounds so absurd. It that's why I was laughing. It just sounds so unbelievable. Uh, so I don't know what's going on with Ezra Miller. I mean, he just seems like he's crazy. So, and it's not rational because he had a really good career making millions of dollars, making a ton of money being in major superhero movies, which would have been a dream job for millions and millions of people. And he squandered all that away. It's just, it's a tragic story, but he also seems to be a bit of a bully and a bit of a narcissist. But most actors are. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm not going to proclaim to know. Let me stop sharing that.
It would be a shame if they scrapped the whole movie for one guy's bad behavior. Because listen, like not nobody's perfect,
I
right?
don't know.
Maybe
Don't care, man. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the DC
yeah,
universe.
okay.
I mean, the
Yeah.
only DC movie that I made that I liked that they made was Joker from
Oh yeah?
2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good movie because, like I said, it transcends genre. It has a commentary about society, about how we treat people, how we beat people up, and then that ends up creating pandemonium, chaos in the end, and it's bad for society as a whole to discard people and treat people like they're trash. Then eventually, it'll come back to bite you in the end. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
and that doesn't even take place in the same universe. It doesn't even
Yeah.
take place in the Snyderverse. I'm not a fan of the Snyderverse. I don't like the way Snyder made Superman and Man of Steel kill General Zod by snapping his neck. That goes against the character, the core of the character. Superman is supposed to be a force for good. He will not go out of his way to kill people. I mean, with superhuman strength, he could have like grabbed Zod and forced him to go somewhere else. I just thought that was really cheesy and done for a shocking effect. And to be, oh, we're darker and gritty than Marvel movies. And it just didn't work for me. And the numbers didn't really work because they haven't really been able to compete with the MCU. Although Batman versus Superman, I think, made over $700 million. I didn't really care for that movie either. I thought it was really contrived. It was based on a Frank Miller comic. And I can't stand Ben Affleck as Batman. It just didn't work for me. And then I didn't really, outside of the Harley Quinn, I didn't really like any of the Suicide Squad movies. It was lacking cohesion and a coherent plot. And I didn't like the dark humor in the second Suicide Squad. I thought it was kind of cruel. And I, all the characters, most of the characters in Suicide Squad, except for uh, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, are pretty much unlikable. And it's hard for me to get behind a movie. And then they didn't have enough Harley Quinn in the second movie. So I didn't like the Suicide Squad movies. I didn't like Batman v Superman. I didn't like Man of Steel. I didn't like the Justice League movie. I thought the Justice League movie was a convoluted, watered down mess. And I was just like, whatever. And the movie actually didn't do that well at the box office. See, just let me go to Box Office Mojo. Clicking on Box Office Mojo. I mean, actually, it did kind of mediocre. I mean, but it didn't do as well as they were hoping. You see that right there?
Yeah.
Worldwide, it did $657 million. This was supposed to be a competitor to the MCU's Avengers, and it had the potential to be really good, but it had too many plot contrivances, and they tried to cram too much into the plot. It was a convoluted mess. The tonal quality of the film was mixed because there was a lot of reshoots by Joss Whedon. Now, I haven't seen the Snyder Cut. To me, it's just, if I didn't like the original cut, and I don't like most of Snyder's superhero movies, I like the way he did Watchmen. That was meant to be dark and gritty. But Justice League and Superman, not meant to be dark and gritty. And he doesn't really portray the heroes right, in my opinion. Yeah, so it did mediocre, but from what I understand, it was like a $200 million production budget. And then with the Joss Whedon reshoots, it was like another 100 million. So the Justice League movie, I think, cost like 300 million to make. And then they spent like maybe another 200 million promoting it. Because usually, with all the movie posters and advertisements on TV, that costs millions and millions of dollars. And so you could easily see with the reshoots, they probably spent 500 million promoting and making the film. And for it to only make 657 million, yeah, it technically didn't lose money, but it should have made a billion with a movie of that caliber. But yeah, it was just a convoluted mess. It was very hard for me to follow the plot, or at least the original version of it. I know you said that the Snyder cut was much better. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a 4 hour long movie, and it was kind
But
of
yeah,
hard to
so
get
I
through.
I don't really care about the Flash movie, whether it comes out or not. I don't really care about Ezra Miller. He seems like a weirdo. I don't care. I mean, I hope he gets help. He seems like he needs some therapy. He needs to go to rehab or something. But
What about Michael Keaton? Do you like Michael Keaton's Batman?
I like Michael Keaton in the 1989 movie only. I
Yeah.
don't like any of the other Batman movies after that, although he was only in the first two. But yeah, something else I want to talk about that's been making news. Have you watched
Hmm.
the Alex Jones defamation case trial?
I heard he got in trouble again.
Yeah, he's a complete idiot. He's just an unhinged maniac. I mean, the harm that he did to the families of Sandy Hook, like he was doxing them. A lot of them had to move because they were getting harassed. He would call them out by name and talk about how they were demonic, possessed. Uh, it was an inside job. They were actors. Uh, they were professional actors. They didn't really have children. He said all these hurtful things, and he got his sicko fans to harass these people and do real harm. And so this was breaking news on Reuters. Uh, Let me go ahead and share it with you.
Hmm.
Jury awards $45.2 million in punitive damages in Alex Jones Sandy Hook trial. But yeah, I mean, this really shows you of what wealthy white privilege does, because he lied under oath twice. Because TYT has covered this, and so is like the David Pakman show, and they played some clips. Because most of the time I don't like to watch live court TV. It tends to be mostly boring, although it was lively with Alex Jones. And he basically lied, saying that he complied with discovery, and that wasn't true. And that's the reason why, if he had turned over his documents, he could have fought the case and got it narrowed down a little more. And he was also dumb. He was going on his show and he was showing pictures of the judge and showing flames and saying that he believed that she was demonically possessed. He also lied under oath, about, not only did he lie about complying with discovery, but um, he he lied under oath, with anyway, I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. He lied under oath twice, and the thing was that the he didn't even get, lying under perjury is a felony. He should have been charged with a couple of felonies. But I guess the judge didn't want another show trial, because then you would have to present evidence that he lied under oath. But if you're a famous person, and you're super wealthy, you can get away with lying under oath like Alex Jones did.
Hmm.
And yeah, I can't stand Alex Jones. He's crazy. I don't like the harm that he's done to the He called them crisis actors. And Um, oh, another thing that okay, I remember now. The other thing that he lied under oath about, I had to play the video back in my head. The other thing that he lied under oath about was he said that he didn't mention Sandy Hook in his text messages. And his lawyer, I don't know if it's because his lawyer disliked Alex Jones, or it was just he just has a very incompetent lawyer, but his lawyer accidentally sent 2 years of text messages to the attorneys of the families. And so they got all of his text messages, and they played they showed the text messages on the views on the big monitor, showing that he actually had talked about Sandy Hook many times. And he had got some of his sicko fans to go after these people. And, he was going on and on about how these are crisis actors. They don't even have real children. This is the conspiracy to convince Americans to take away guns, just crazy, crazy crap. I mean, he's sometimes funny to watch. Alex Jones is like, let's give you the best example. It's kind of like, he's kind of like watching a car skid with its tires. It can be amusing the first couple of times, but if that car keeps skidding over and over again, the screeching noise starts to irritate your ears. And that's the same thing with Alex Jones. Like the first few times, if you watch him for a few minutes, he can be really funny because he's just out of his freaking mind. But then, I can only take that in moderation. I can't watch too much Alex Jones. But yeah, he's been banned from all social media, which I don't agree with. But he's definitely a right-wing extremist. And he's just, this trial shows, because he just kept digging himself a hole. And so that was actually higher damages than what I heard. But let's see. I heard that Alex Jones has a net worth of like, let me stop sharing the screen. Yeah, so, another thing that Alex Jones was penalized for, he was lying under oath when he said that he was bankrupt. He's not bankrupt. Hold on, let me share a screen again. Economist, this is usnews.com. Economist, Alex Jones, his company worth up to 270 million. So this is going to be pocket change for him, even though he's going to have to pay $45 million in damages to all the family members that he hurt. And it's not a matter of freedom of speech. This is a civil trial, which is different than a criminal trial. So Alex Jones will not go to jail, will not go to prison. He just has civil penalties. And, criticizing the judge on his show at the same time while the trial's going on, not very smart. It probably hurt him, and it cost him more money. But Alex Jones is going to be just okay. He claims that he's bankrupt. I know he's attempted to file for bankruptcy, and I think one of the bankruptcy judges threw it out of court because they said that he's not bankrupt because he has 270 million. Now there's talks about how he has created shell corporations. These are companies that don't exist in the United States that he could forward money to as an attempt to claim bankruptcy and skirt having to pay debt. A lot of companies do this, but he's just out of his mind. So yeah, worth 270 million. He's not bankrupt. He's made a lot of money selling scammy supplements. But yeah, I don't like Alex Jones. Do you like Alex Jones? What's your opinion about Alex Jones' trial? His civil case.
Well, when I first saw Alex Jones, it was on YouTube on his
Okay.
channel. And let me tell you, he was hilarious. I gave
Yeah,
you
he's hilarious. He with the gay frogs and the demonic possession, the aliens. Sometimes he would bring up aliens. He just would make all kinds of crazy crap up. It's all fun and games, and it's all good laughter until he starts threatening people. That's the reason why he got banned from YouTube. He was threatening people, and he was using anti-Semitic slurs, threatening reporters that he didn't like. He was getting his sicko fans to come on his show and talk about it, and he would name these people by name, and then they would get harassed, and a lot of them had to move multiple times, calling them crisis actors and saying that they made up their children didn't really exist, that it was an inside job, it was a false flag attack. So yeah, he's definitely, everything to him is a false flag.
I
But
remember when I gave you his video, you said he was crazy. You said
he
Alex
is
Jones is
crazy.
crazy.
I mean, it's not an act, because you could just see in the courtroom with the way he got scolded by the judge for perjuring himself twice. It's not an act, because he doesn't even act in his own best interests all the time. I mean, he's been a very good businessman, a very good con man. He's like a snake oil salesman. He'll sell you products that will put lead in your pencil because they have lead imported from China. There was a story about that, like how some of the products that he was selling on Infowars.com were tainted with lead because they were made in like cheap factories in China where they didn't have safety standards. And so a lot of the products that he sells are actually harmful. But yeah, he's made millions, tens of millions of dollars off his show. He was making money off his YouTube show, but he doesn't have a YouTube show anymore. It's just now direct streaming to Infowars.com. Yeah, it's all fun and games, and it's all funny until he gets his fans to threaten people and he defames people. If it was just him talking ill about somebody, but the fact that he accused them of conspiring to try to take people's guns away, which was not true. He accused them of being crisis actors, which is not true. He accused them of being in a conspiracy with the government, which is not true. And these people got harassed. And Alex Jones has some dangerous fans. They got harassed. And, Alex Jones is not even a journalist. He's just a political pundit. He doesn't do his research, doesn't really care to, because he has his rose-colored conservative glasses on. But yeah, I can't. As a person, I can't stand Alex Jones. As somebody that I can, edit clips together and do a funny Alex Jones clip where you have like the top 10 goofiest things that he has said. Yeah, that's amusing. There are amusing parts of Alex Jones. But overall, it's like I said, it's like grading tires on the road. If I watch a car, do donuts in the road a couple of times, it's might be entertaining. But then after a couple of times, it gets repetitive and annoying, and it hurts my ears, it hurts my brain. And that's the same analogy that I would give to Alex Jones. So do you still like Alex Jones? Do you watch his shows still?
I feel sad that I can't see him on YouTube anymore. I'm like, oh, he was so entertaining.
Well, the reason why, I can't remember the reporter's name. He had this reporter that he hated for whatever reason. He's like, look at his face. He's got demonic possession. He's got demonic possession. Look at that smile. He's possessed by demons. And then he confronted the reporter in person and was saying that, that he was demonic, that he was conspiring with the Democrats to drink children's blood or something. It's typical blood libel. Yeah, it's funny looking back on it, but he was bullying people, and he was slandering people and being anti-Semitic. That's what led to him being banned from YouTube. I mean, I think you should have freedom of speech within a limited range, and I worry about the perception of banning Alex Jones. They're going to be like, well, we need to ban some liberal YouTube channels, and they've done that in the past. And there's a false equivalence there. Just because a conservative does something bad, that doesn't mean you have to, in retaliation, ban liberal YouTube channels in response. And people could be mistaken about the facts, but I wish I wish we'd restore net neutrality, which the United States repealed under Trump. Trump did so many horrible things while he was president. We're still going to be reeling from it decades later. We're still going to be suffering
And
the consequences of Trump,
yeah,
whether the Supreme Court or with him getting Agit Pie to repeal net neutrality, which led to all these bannings. We need to change the internet to where it's considered a public utility and that anybody should have say, short of threatening people directly. I'm a free speech absolutist. Short of threatening people directly, um, I feel like you should have absolute free speech. But the structure of the internet needs to be changed to neutrality, and it needs to be changed to be treated like a public utility instead of a for-profit business.
hmm
But we are out of time. Thank you, my friend, for joining me. This is The World is a Mess, and I just want to steampunk it, episode 73. This is August the 5th, 2022. I'm your host, Steampunk Star Raisin, here in North Hollywood, California, USA. I'm here with Daniel Burtison in Bellwood, Ontario, Canada. You have a nice day. No, see you 25 billion years. I will.
bye.